Latin name cor, and Greek name cardia. It has two surfaces, anterior surface that is fascia sternocastalis, attached to ribs and sternum, and posteriorly diaphragmatic surface, fascia diaphragmatica. It has four chambers. On external surface we have groove between right and left ventricles, that is sulcus interventricularis anterior, and posteriorly the same, sulcus interventricularis posterior. These two grooves join together on the right side from the apex of heart, that is incisura apicis cordis, and here it is apex cordis, here it is basis cordis. In diaphragmatic surface, very clear to see groove between atriums and ventricles, that is sulcus coronarius cordis, coronary groove. I already said four chambers, two atriums, right and left atrium and right and left ventricle. What opens into right atrium? I think you know that it is superior and inferior vena cava, and here it is, that is opening of coronary sinus, sinus coronarius cordis, that is proper veins of the heart, sinus coronarius cordis. It opens into right atrium. On the wall between right atrium and left atrium, we can see fossa ovalis. Here it is, fossa ovalis. This fossa ovalis, that is place where in fetus we have opening, foramen ovale. But in adults, here it is fossa ovalis. Then, left atrium. Left atrium, here it is, we can see openings of pulmonary veins. Two pulmonary veins on the left side and two pulmonary veins on the right side. That is vena pulmonalis, they opens into left atrium. Between right atrium and right ventricle we have opening, ostium atrioventricularis dexter, and this opening closed with the help of tricuspid valve, valva tricuspidalis. On the left side, bicuspid valve or mitral valve, valva mitralis or valva bicuspidalis, bicuspid valve. These two valves consist of cusps. On the right side, three cusps, and each cusp joined with papillary muscles with the help of chorda tendinae. These white structures, they are chorda tendinae between papillary muscles and wall of the cusp. We have three papillary muscles on the right side and two papillary muscles on the left side. On the right side, anterior, posterior, and septal papillary muscle, and on the left side, anterior and posterior papillary muscles. What else? Each atrium has auricle, auriculum dextrum, here it is right auricle, and left auricle, auriculum sinistrum. Place on the right atrium between opening of superior vena cava and right atrium, that is terminal groove, sulcus terminalis on external surface, and inside of atrium this place has name crista terminalis, crista terminalis inside of atrium and sulcus terminalis on external surface. Well, now what we can see in preparation. First of all, how to take heart correct. That is anterior surface fascia sternocastalis, because here it is pulmonary trunk, truncus pulmonalis, here it is aorta, and both atriums behind of these two large vessels. Here it is right atrium with right auricle, here it is left atrium and left auricle. Atriums posteriorly, and these two vessels, pulmonary trunk and aorta, in front of atriums. That is why here it is anterior surface, fascia sternocostalis, and here it is diaphragmatic surface, posteriorly. Now, this groove, sulcus interventricularis posterior, this groove, sulcus coronarius cordis, and here it is sulcus interventricularis anterior. I already said that it is right auricle, and on external surface here it is sulcus terminalis, and inside of atrium here it is crista terminalis, and sharp surface of atrium inside of auricle, that is musculi pectinati. Inside of auricle we have musculi pectinati. Then here it is opening of superior vena cava superior, and here it is opening of inferior vena cava inferior. And on the left side, here it is left auricle, here it is, left auricle here, that is left atrium, and should be openings of pulmonary veins, but these veins are absent. We cut this heart below of pulmonary veins. That is why only you will answer that 4 pulmonary veins opens into left atrium. Look here. You can see differences between atrium and ventricle. And you can see that atrium is smooth and ventricle not so smooth. Here it is trabecula carnea. They are muscles of heart makes sharp surface inside of ventricle. That is pars trabecularis, consists of trabecula carnea. And in atrium we have smooth surface. Only place where from ventricle it is beginning of aorta, and you can see that inside of this place the same smooth surface of ventricle, that is conus arteriosus in the beginning of aorta, and the same conus arteriosus we can see in the beginning of pulmonary trunk. Here it is. This is conus arteriosus, here it is trabecula carnea are absent. All another inner surface of ventricle has trabecula carnea. What else? Here it is bicuspid valve, that is cuspis anterior and cuspis posterior. That is papillary muscle, anterior papillary muscle. Here it is chorda tendinea. This one posterior papillary muscle, and here it is also chorda tendinea between papillary muscle and wall of the cusp. On the right side, tricuspid valve. Here it is posterior cusp, cuspis posterior. Here should be septal cusp, cuspis septalis, and here it is anterior cusp, cuspis anterior. Tricuspid valve on the right side. Maybe you know that heart has 3 codes. External, that is Sero's code, that is epicardium. It is part of pericardium. Muscular code, that is myocardium, and inner endocardium. Myocardium differ in atriums and in ventricles. In atriums we have 2 layers of muscles. In ventricles 3 layers. Give me a piece of paper, please. Okay, that is ostium atrioventricularis, here and here. And now we speak about ventricles. External longitudinal layer of muscles in left ventricle. On the apex, it makes vortex and continues into inner longitudinal layer of opposite ventricle. And here it is the same, external longitudinal layer continues into internal longitudinal layer here. That is why longitudinal muscles are common for both ventricles, and external layer in one ventricle continues into inner layer in opposite ventricle. And circular muscles, they are between longitudinal, external and internal, and circular muscles are own for each ventricle. They own circular muscle of right and in left ventricle. They not continuous one into another. Only longitudinal layers continues from one ventricle into another ventricle. It is 3 layers: external longitudinal, middle circular, and inner longitudinal layer. And place where longitudinal layer of one ventricle continues into another ventricle, that is vortex. Vortex place on the apex of heart. Vortex cordis. What else? Heart has its own conductive system. This conductive system generate impulses and conduct these impulses to myocardium of atriums and myocardium of ventricles. That is right atrium, right ventricle, left atrium and left ventricle. In right atrium we have auricle, that is right auricle, and that is superior vena cava, vena cava superior. And on the border between them, between right auricle and superior vena cava, it is in sulcus terminalis, we have SA node, nodus sina atrialis, SA node. That is node of the first order. It's pacemaker of the first order. It generates impulses, and from here impulses goes to both atriums, and also it goes to another node. This node is AV node, nodus atrioventricularis. This node is in lower part of septum interatriale, near of septal cusp of tricuspid valve. Not far from this cusp we have AV node, that is second node in conductive system, and from here it is what's that? Bundle of Gis, Gis bundle, or fasciculus atrioventricularis. This fascicle continues to septum between right and left ventricles, and this septum, lower 2 thirds, that is muscular part, and upper third, that is membranous part. And bundle of Gis on the border between membranous and muscular part of septum interventriculare subdivides into 2 crus, right and left crus, crus dextrum and crus sinistrum of bundle of Gis, and this crus continues into ventricles as Purkinje fibers, Purkinje fibers. All of these structures forms conductive system of the heart. SA node, AV node, bundle of Gis, or fasciculus atrioventricularis, crus of bundle of Gis, and Purkinje fibers. These structures generate and conduct nervous impulses and participate in contraction of heart, in heartbeat. Give me your book. Heart, external, internal structure, conducting system of the heart, and that is all. Blood vessels not necessary, just here external, internal structure and conductive system of the heart. That is next Wednesday. Next Wednesday. And on Monday, mini exam. Well,